Hungary and all other member states of the European Union are under a genocidal attack from the EU itself, as genocide is expressly defined by the United Nations, which definition the EU embraces. The EU is exerting coercive force against the nation of Hungary and demanding that Hungary submit to a genocidal invasion over Hungary's repeated and sustained objections, and with the intent and inevitable result of destroying the national sovereignty and the ethnic, racial, or religious makeup of the Hungarian people by insisting that Hungary succumb to a forced invasion made under duress and over Hungary's expressed objections by large groups which are not Hungarian citizens, nor of Hungarian ethnicity, race, or general religious preference, and by applying the duress and punishments of fines and other sanctions against the nation of Hungary for refusing to allow the invasion of its borders by such genocidal foreign elements. The EU was instituted under a plan set forth by Richard Coudenhove-Kalergi in 1925, in which Kalergi expressly stated that the primary aim of the organization, which was to become the EU, is to destroy European nations, ethnicities, races, and religions, and supplant their governments and peoples with rule by a Jewish master race over a mostly non-European-based miscegenated population derived mostly from Africans and Asians. All the elements of deliberate and aggressive genocide are therefore met by the readily demonstrable facts and law. Hungary is a member of NATO and should invoke Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty and thereby call upon all NATO members to join Hungary in the common defense of the nation against the European Union's genocidal attack on Hungary. The EU has fined Hungary in excess of €200 million with additional fines accruing daily as a forceful measure to coerce the nation into surrendering to the EU's genocidal aggression. The United Nations defines and explains genocide as follows. Definition: Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Article 2 in the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such, killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Elements of the crime. The Genocide Convention establishes in Article 1 that the crime of genocide may take place in the context of an armed conflict, international or non-international, but also in the context of a peaceful situation. The latter is less common, but still possible. The same article establishes the obligation of the contracting parties to prevent and to punish the crime of genocide. The popular understanding of what constitutes genocide tends to be broader than the content of the norm under international law. Article 2 of the Genocide Convention contains a narrow definition of the crime of genocide, which includes two main elements: a mental element, the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such, and a physical element, which includes the following 5 acts, enumerated exhaustively: killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. The intent is the most difficult element to determine. To constitute genocide, there must be a proven intent on the part of perpetrators to physically destroy a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. Cultural destruction does not suffice, nor does an intention to simply disperse a group. It is this special intent, or dolus specialis, that makes the crime of genocide so unique. In addition, case law has associated intent with the existence of a state or organizational plan or policy, even if the definition of genocide in international law does not include that element. Importantly, the victims of genocide are deliberately targeted, not randomly, because of their real or perceived membership of one of the four groups protected under the Convention, which excludes political groups, for example. This means that the target of destruction must be the group as such, and not its members as individuals. Genocide can also be committed against only a part of the group, as long as that part is identifiable, including within a geographically limited area, and substantial,